Okay. Hello. Welcome to another Portland podcast. It's been probably about a month. I remember the last one was a lead up to the play-in games where um, I wouldn't say we'd thrown in the towel, but we were very open to slipping out of the play-in. That's we half expected that. Um, or we would win a play-in game and take the seventh or eighth seed. We ended up getting the eighth seed, and somehow, yeah, shockingly, we're able to handle the Spurs, which I gave us probably 1 in 50 probability before the playoff started. So to go from being unsure if we would even win a game in the playoffs to ruining not being in the lottery a little bit, um, to actually be competitive enough to kind of control the series like we did, incredibly surprising. And it's just, yeah, really reinvigorated that spirit of wanting to do well and wanting to put my best foot forward all the time. So, yeah, definitely pushed this series win definitely pushed us into um, it's go time, absolutely go time. Before we analyze the series, the 5 games in the series, I wanted to say a massive thank you again to the admin team. That's every one of them. That's Pete, Leroy, Daz, Ninjabin, and Lattice. The league just somehow keeps getting better and better, and the community's getting better and better. And I don't know, it feels like we just keep outdoing ourselves. And I think that the admins are the infrastructure that holds the league together, and not only holds it together, but holds it up and props us up to these lofty heights that we're performing and getting to watch and experience at the moment. The daily patches, the daily roster freezes, the tireless kind of admin hours on the injury data or the site coding. It's seriously unbelievable. So I know a lot more people show gratitude now. I hope more GMs do that maybe haven't. Just reach out and say thank you. Yeah, we're very, very lucky. So thank you. And the site looks incredible. I know you can see it on the screen while you're watching this, but it's so sharp. What a beautiful modern update. Yeah, it is such a wonder. Yeah, catch myself just checking out all the pages just to see these beautiful improvements, and yeah, we're very blessed. So we're almost through the first round of the playoffs, and there have been lots of surprises. And I will go back to analyzing the Portland Spurs series, but you've got the lowest seed winning. What is it? One season, one, two, three out of the four out west, and two out of the three that have been completed out east so far. I think a little the Wizards are a little bit of an outlier because they have had terrible injury run this year, and now they are fully healthy. If they had a good injury run, they're probably second seed behind the Knicks, something like that. So that was pretty unlucky, unfortunate for Ethan to cop that in the first round because the Wiz looked good. Pete handled the admin run Hornets. Great series between Vit and Shams, that 4 and 5th seed matchup, and Shams going through. Well done. And we get a game 7. Knicks versus Bulls. Crazy, crazy series that's been. Lakers handled the frisky Jazz. Jazz is still trying to figure out their identity, I think, and Craig will be able to refine that even more next year if he gets those GMs the GM fine down. OKC have been spoken about at length, and Ruzi handled them pretty comfortably. So he now gets to match up against Wemby and the Lakers. The Rockets 4-0 over the Warriors. Jokic finally just showing that he's a 97 and a 90 or a 98, whatever he's rated, just dominating the Warriors. And back back to us, the Blazers, unbelievably were able to take the Spurs down. Now, in the past, this would have been um, a lot more spiteful, a lot more heated. I think Nelson and I are trying to be better men, and have perspective and have gratitude, and there was no drama. There was no trash talking. I think we've both been hurt enough times to realize that you don't need that extra kind of venom from your opponent. That's maybe what it felt like. It didn't actually feel real for us. So to win 4-1, and I know the results were really close. So the 120 to 116, 119 to 117, 115 to 120, a blowout loss to the Spurs in game four. But then we came right back and dominated that fifth game. Even though it got really, really close, it got to level with a few minutes to go. We were mired in inefficiency for most of that fourth quarter, and then 2K just gave us sort of rectified it and boosted us at the end. But it never felt real the whole time. Spurs are the most consistent winning team in our history, and they have the best 2K player. And we didn't have Luca, and we're trying to still figure out what our best unit is. And we found something that just worked. I don't know how. We nullified Drew, maybe was a bit nullified. Jamal Murray was, I think, nullified a little bit. Giannis did whatever he wanted, but somehow we were able to hold on to enough leads to win 4-1. Unbelievable. But we're here. So, game one. It's tight the whole way, so it looks like Spurs had a really small halftime lead, and then we had that 2K third quarter, and we were able to turn a 3-point deficit into 6-point lead, and then it looks like it was shot for shot in that last quarter. And I like to go to the play-by-play and just check those last few frantic minutes, which is the most exciting basketball of the whole match. Yeah, you can see we had a comfortable 7-point lead here that gets whittled down to nothing. 1 point with 15 seconds to go. And it looks like they missed the 3-pointer to tie. So it's just crazy close basketball. And we end up just holding on. And that felt fluky. Game one, I was like, no way. We've won this game. Um, I sort of thought maybe we would win one game. We've hit our quota already. Nelson will steady the ship. But we were just so fortunate. You can see here we got the 2K superstar game here. Anthony Edwards, 64 points, which is the high mark of the playoffs so far, 64. And you can see this beautiful new box score layout from Pete. It's just absolutely stunning. 64 points. So he was able to hit um, 9 out of 14 threes. So that's about 65%. He only had two turnovers, so his usage was absolutely enormous to have 33 field goal attempts and 16 free throws. And I imagine he was tagged. He had Giannis on him most of the series. I didn't see. Maybe he had Drew first up. I know he had Giannis on in the last few games, which made his efficiency drop. But he wrestled the control of the series to us straight away on the back of this incredible game. One of the best playoff games we've seen in the NSL, to come out and kind of smack the one seed in the mouth. And this is what we settled with this team, because Horford's just a really, really diligent, solid defender. He doesn't give us much on offense. He's a good passer. He's just a really smart 2K role player. He's sort of a power forward version of Caruso a little bit. And these are the guys we targeted to balance out, having Doncic and Edwards to kind of balance out not needing usage to be effective, same as Gafford. And they just fit together so well. Like Flag had a really bad game, but Edwards was able to he was unstoppable. And then Portis off the bench, where he doesn't have to be as defensively responsible, he's a really good scorer. He can shoot threes, he hits mid ranges, he backs down, he can hit fadeaway shots. So he's a really nice luxury to have off the bench. Like he and Val, that's a really nice offensive tandem. So yeah, somehow we ended up with that first win. But you can see down here we had an expected win percentage of 63. So even though it was 4 points, um, the algorithm that we use tends to be pretty accurate. So we had control of that game, even though it was only 4 points. And you can see down here, Giannis just does whatever he wants. 44 points. But he had foul trouble, 27 minutes, or maybe it was rotation issues. I know Spurs really shortened that rotation and played around with it a lot to try and maximize Giannis. I was actually surprised he started small forward. I thought the Spurs would avoid that after the Siakam experiment, but he probably thought he could just overwhelm the team, and he didn't expect, else didn't expect, who would expect Edwards to come out and punch him in the face with 64 points. So yeah, unbelievable start and amazingly on my birthday. So that was, I think I was out for a lunch or dinner or something and kind of checking the score. And I was like, this is unbelievable. What a nice birthday present. So we're up 1-0. Sorry, back to and this was at Spurs, at the Spurs court, but there was a lot of discussion that home court advantage actually doesn't exist this 2K, and that the data or the regular season data shows that the away teams win more often. I didn't verify that, but I saw that that was spoken about. So I knew the Spurs were going to make some changes because Nels never dies wondering, and I think is this where Giannis went back to power forward? No, he stuck with it, and I think that's a good move because he'd have to think to himself, "There's no way that Edwards is going to do that to me again. There's no way he scores 64 points." And he was right. There's no way. But Edwards still played an amazing game. So you've got Edwards still, at this point, he's still shooting like 67, 68% for the series as a shooting guard. Like we're used to seeing that from centers and power forwards. So when you get that from a shooting guard and you still get that high efficiency from the bigs, it's just insane because it's almost like every point's worth a point and a half when you're getting that efficiency from a shooting guard. So he goes bonkers again for 48. So he's averaging what I think 57 or 58 points after the first two games, and we come away again with a crazy close win. And we scroll down here, and this one was a lot closer. This was almost a coin flip on the stats, so it could have gone either way. Another big Giannis game. Murray really was slowed down. I think we had Cooper Flag on him for the whole series, and I know his Murray's numbers were solid, but he played big minutes, and I think Flag slowed him down. I think having that size on him did something to him. And Murray kind of has an off game here. And if you look at Portland, all our starters were just kind of rolling. Very efficient this game. Um, and it looks like threes were the difference. So if you look at the season, the series overall, I think Spurs have better field goal percentage. I think they've got better rebounding, but we've blitzed them from three. And most of that is Anthony Edwards. So we go back to the play-by-play and that last couple of minute check. So we've got about very close. Even, Blazers up by three, Blazers up by six. That's kind of the gap there. And there'll be one more flurry at the end. Blazers up by seven. Spurs get it back to even. Whew. I would have been breathing into the brown paper bag by now if I was watching it. Gafford with a dunk. Horford. I remember seeing this. This is a really clutch bailout pass. So Cooper Flag was double teamed because he was really hot, and he threw it to Horford about 15 meters out, probably 15 feet out. Sorry, on the baseline, and just nails this little jumper. Giannis comes down the other end and dunks it in about 3 seconds, as Giannis does, the ultimate closer. Misses the free throw. Drew gets a steal. Oh, this is the Edwards game winner, is it? Yeah, and Giannis comes in. I reckon this is what ends the whole series here. This is just devastating. Call it fate, luck, whatever you want to call it. And this was the Kawhi bounce. Yes. Um, I've never seen a game winner like this. It was genuinely contested mid-range shot, but not a bad one. Like a jab step up, a couple of defenders jump it, and the ball just goes softly towards the rim, bounce, bounce, and goes in. And I've just gasped and probably rejoiced in the middle of my house because it just was so crazy improbable. But at this point, this is 2-0. So this is the first time in, I would say, years that I'm actually starting to being back in the playoffs, starting to get that confidence to be like, okay, well, we might actually be good. I might actually be good at this again. I might have something figured out. So unbelievable result. It was Anthony Edwards. Yeah, whatever the cost was, it was enough. It was right because he was able to kind of give us a 2-0 lead. He outmatched Giannis in the first two games, and I don't think any player maybe has ever done that in a playoff series to be able to say maybe LeBron. Sorry, probably LeBron is the one. And he was able to say, well, look, I've bested you over the two games. So then this forces the Spurs into a change. So what's going on? I've got to get some lower usage guys around Giannis. I've got to let him cook as the power forward. And you can see massive usage, like plays nearly the whole game. 49 points, 12 assists, 5 rebounds, 2 steals, 5 blocks, but somehow we still win. And it really is improbable. I'm not being humble or dramatic. It was like winning these games was felt truly improbable on paper and in reality. Um, but if you look down, Giannis did whatever he wanted, and somehow it looks like the threes were the difference. We've hit five more threes. We've got four more free throws, a lot less turnovers. That's probably four less turnovers there. Yeah, so close. But then you go down here. Our win percentage was 74%. Oh, this is right. So here you go. Sorry, I forgot this. The game was done. We were winning by 20 something at quarter time, at three-quarter time, I think. And Giannis just went ballistic to finish the game and got it really close to, I think it was probably even. Yeah, look at this. So yeah, 2, 3 points the difference. But then the Spurs had just had the 2K run for 8 or 9 minutes, and as 2K tends to do, goes back to the script and says, "Oh, you know what? Portland were 20 points up at three-quarter time," which to even say out loud, I don't think we've ever beaten the Spurs by that much since maybe the first NSL season. So we go back into the year, and this is 3-0 up, and this like you never take anything for granted, and you never presume that it's going to continue when you're playing this well. But 3-0 against the one seed, I don't know if that's ever happened in the NSL before. And yeah, you can strip back. You can sorry, you can remove this sort of heightened sense of emotion because we really do hate each other as the two franchises. And yeah, this was played very respectfully, but yeah, I don't know. There was some extra sort of subtext with this undermanned Portland team just handling the Spurs, and it's so improbable. And I felt a lot of empathy for Nels because as the one seed, you've earned that right to be where you are, and you're a stronger team, and you're more likely to be winning. Something just worked for us, and you can see Ant again, slower game. But by this stage, he's got Giannis on him for every minute that he's on the court, which is ridiculous for a 6'4" guard to try and combat like 7 foot Giannis. But he still was able to put up 30, tire Giannis out. This is the Bobby Portis game. 15 and 10 off the bench. Valanciunas, 9 and 6. Even Uncle Jeffy comes on for 11 minutes and doesn't miss 8 points. So it was really a really spread out effort. Gafford, 5 blocks, really got the better of Nick Richards in this game. And it was really just a team. Cooper Flag, up till this point, has had it really rough. Maybe Drew was on Cooper Flag because he's really battled, but somehow, some crazy improbability, we're 3-0 up now. And you just got to keep telling yourself we only need to play one more good game out of four. And that sounds a bit defeatist, but it's a mathematical, um, pragmatic way to view it that you've just got to win one more, and the Spurs have to win four in a row. So it's really unlikely at this point the Spurs are winning the series, but I think I still am pinching myself. I can't believe that it's eventuated like this, and neither can Nelson. I'm assuming. I know he didn't say much. He carried himself very respectfully, but he'd have to be very frustrated and confused. Because I was a bit confused too. I didn't think I'd had the right settings for the team. And yeah, you just know you're never going to stop Giannis. And here we are, three up, and we go into game four. And this is where the Spurs are like, there's no way these schmoes are sweeping us. And they come out and just absolutely destroy Portland. You can see Giannis shoots 92% from the field, if that's ever happened before, and double doubles. Um, and we were absolutely nowhere near it. Anthony Edwards, and he was due for a bad game, plays abysmally. And this, you can see the starters minus 15 across the board. No one with a positive plus minus. We were just decimated, totally destroyed. And they keep the series alive. And I thought maybe Nelson's figured it out. And all I can think of is some game theory because I was presuming Nels would run this lineup back. I didn't have really any changes to make. I think I was just crossing my fingers. So I was presuming that we would be facing that team again because they just destroyed us. But maybe Nels was thinking I was then going to sort of initiate phase two and use a different lineup or a different playbook that worked. I didn't have any options. And Nels rotated back to that round, the game one lineup, which you can see shot 60% from the field, which has been the Spurs' modus operandum for the whole playoffs. And they got more rebounds than us. They got more defensive, like deflections, block steals than us. But we took care of the ball. We were laser from three. Like we hit 11 more threes than they did. We got more free throws. And Cooper Flag, the whole starters were just rolling like 6 of 7, six. Al Horford 6 of 8. Cooper Flag amazing as a 19-year-old rookie. 29 points, 6 assists in a closeout game against the Spurs. Like unbelievable. And yeah, he was pretty inefficient from the field overall, but he scored 33 points on threes, which was the difference again. He's just a sniper from three this year. And there you have it. Somehow the eight seed Blazers were able to take down the one seed Spurs, which I don't think we've had an eight seed take down a one seed. So I'd have to go back and check. Maybe when the Spurs were eliminated because of their roster ineligibility, they were probably the one seed. I could be wrong. But to have a one seed lose 1-4 to an eight seed is crazy. And it still feels a bit unreal because we were just so steady and we've got some really young players and we're so reliant on Ant and he was amazing. And it seems like everyone just played their role incredibly well. Um, and it's in the books. Like you see, Portland have now got a chance to move on against the Rockets. And the Rockets absolutely handled their business, sorry, against the Warriors. And we go to here, and you can see comfortably 15-point win, 8-point win, 20-point win, 7-point win. So the Warriors never really were threatened by the Warriors. Sorry, the Rockets were not threatened by the Warriors. And that half gritty kind of 2K chemistry and that overachieving output that the Warriors had been um, producing for most of the year, it became really tough when the Rockets could just zero in on them. And you can see Jokic, look at that. 33.5 points, 18.3 rebounds, 8.3 assists, 3.3 steals. It's the best Jokic series we've probably ever seen. And it's great to see that he can be a 2K superstar. And incredible series and an incredible season from Vit and the Rockets. You got to remember they lost their 90 something star in Tyrese Halliburton, so they had every reason to sort of falter, and here they are, knocking off the fourth seed Warriors and staying alive. So at least four more matches, four more games. Um, yeah. So I think Pete mentioned the next round will start in a couple of days after the Knicks and um, Bulls game seven. So here we go. Um, Interesting. Yeah. Very different team setups during the regular season. It looks like, yeah, Portland won early in the season. They went Portland won, Houston won. So one all, Portland again, Houston again. So there you go. Split the series, the season series 2-all, which probably indicates it's going to be a pretty tight series. The butterflies are kicking around, but we're really excited we got through. And I know that was a very Portland centric pod. We're just yeah, we're just really excited to be back in the playoffs. And thanks to the Simmers, thanks again to the admin. I know it's a grind for you, but I just love this league so much. And yeah, I hope all the GMs, if there's little things you can do to help or at least be courteous, be accountable for the duties you have to do, it just helps. It shows that you care as well. So as always, go Portland. Commiserations again to Nels. Love you, mate. Your team, incredible. They just ran into some like a chemistry buzzsaw, I think. And to all the other GMs that have been eliminated, thanks for a great season. All right. Till next time.